Hey guys, it's me, Sean Blue. Welcome back to another episode of Here's Looking at You with Sean Blue. Shout out to all my Blue Jays out here. Sorry about that. I am here to talk to you about the movie Silver Bullet, starring Corey Haim and Gary Busey. It came out in 1985, and it was based on the Stephen King novel from 1983 called The Cycle of the Werewolf. Just to give you a heads up, there's going to be some spoilers, so if you never seen this movie, you might just want to tune out, or if you don't care, then please keep on watching. And if you have seen this movie, then you understand what I'm talking about. Okay, the movie Silver Bullet is based on a small town back in the 70s. Even though the movie came out in the 80s, it was based in the 70s of Corey Haim's character, Marty. Marty is this young crippled boy, around like 12. And he has like an older sister, and of course he has mom and dad. And they just live in this very small, pleasant little town where everybody knows everyone, and everyone's helping out everyone if they need help. And his uncle Gary, played by Gary Busey, he's an alcoholic. He's a good man. He loves his nephew and his niece, but he's an alcoholic, and you can't really rely on him about things. And but he comes into town every once in a while to say hi to his nephew and niece and his sister, who's their mother. All seems well in this town until an old man who was working on the railroads late at nights was killed. And people heard howling, but besides kind of getting spooked out by that, they didn't really give it too much thoughts. And they thought the old man, since he was an alcoholic, they thought he just passed out and he was hit by the train, and he died that way. They honestly didn't think he was murdered. They thought it was a sad thing, but that happens sometimes. Then, a few nights later, a young woman was murdered who was going to commit suicide because she was pregnant, and the man who got her pregnant didn't want to own up to responsibility. And yeah, the werewolf broke into her bedroom and killed her. Then people started getting nervous because now they're realizing, wait a minute, there could be a maniac running around, and who killed not only that young woman, but also killed the old man too. Then Marty was, I wouldn't say his girlfriend, but Marty's friend, her father was the next victim. He was like this big, mean, drunk farmer who was murdered in the garden house. And then people like started getting really outraged because one was a middle-aged man, one was an old man, and one was a young woman. So like this just sounds like a maniac that's just going around town, just killing whoever. And in a lot of ways, it was. So the old townspeople got together, or at least most of them, and they went out hunting for this nuts. And of course, it ended up backfiring, and a lot more townspeople ended up getting killed. And the reverend of the town, he was trying to make peace. He was saying, like, don't go out there, don't hunt for this maniac, but nobody would listen. And yeah, it went haywire. And, Gary Busey, he bought, Corey Haim, like, this cool, like, kind of like a little motorcycle wheelchair for him to ride around in. And he also got him a bunch of fireworks, too. And one night, Corey, snuck out of the house, and he rode down the road, and he started playing with the fireworks, setting them off. But of course, yeah, there's a werewolf running around. But he didn't care. He was just a kid. And he's like, I'm willing to take that chance. And yeah, and then when the werewolf was coming, he shot a rocket right into his eye. And also I meant to say that Marty's friend was also or Corey's friend was also killed by the werewolf as well, another young boy around 12 when he was flying a kite. And so anyway, but Marty Corey. So if I say Corey, I mean Marty. That's the character of the story, but Corey is the actor. So I'm just going to say Corey. Corey shot a rocket into the werewolf's eye, and then he would say like, okay, whoever is the werewolf would only have one eye, and he was telling his sister that when she had to collect cans for like her school or whatever. and or maybe even like the church for like a security. And his sister didn't believe him at first. She's like, okay, yeah, sure. And then she was going around town kind of believing in, while she was looking at different people's faces as she was collecting cans. Then she was thinking like, oh, brother Marty, you got me running around, and like it's not true. Then she went to the church to deliver the cans to the reverend, and when she saw a mouse, she fell back into the cans in the garage when she was by herself, and the reverend was working in his garden. Then he ran in to check on her. And when she turned to talk to the reverend, like, oh, it was this mouse, and then she saw that he had a patch over one of his eyes. Then she realized that he was the werewolf. Then they went to, make a long story short, they went to go tell their uncle, and their uncle didn't believe him, of course. And one night, it was on Halloween actually, he was babysitting the both of them because the parents were out of town. They had to go somewhere, and that's when the Reverend came as the werewolf and tried to kill the family, and the family fought back. Then Marty, and Marty shot the werewolf in the other eye with a silver bullet, which he had made from his cross. And the girl used something religious, something silver, to make too. And they went to this old man, and he made them a silver bullets, and the uncle thought it was ridiculous, but he did it anyway. But that's what they used to kill the werewolf. And this was a very good werewolf movie. There's a lot of good werewolf movies out there, but this is one of the best, hands down. That's for sure. One of the best. It's right up there with American Werewolf in London, and that's another famous werewolf movie. One day I might talk about it, maybe not. I'm not too sure. But yeah, I recommend to go see Silver Bullet if you haven't, and if you have, go see it again. They've been playing it on TV a lot.